What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Kentucky Derby update here. And we do these when we have Fantasy League shakes. And so that's what we have today. That's why I'm here. So we'll do the Fantasy League shake first, and then we'll kind of get into what's been going on. And a wild trail, I guess, would be the way to put it. So let's get the Fantasy Shake out of the way first. So the Magic Mike team and then Vinny Blond, they're going to shake this morning for Encino. Encino won the John Battaglia Memorial Stakes over the weekend. He was not owned by anybody in the Fantasy League, so they're going to shake. So let's do it. The Wheel of Death is on the screen. Let's see who gets Encino, and then we'll kind of talk about him a little bit because there is a little bit of an update on him. So let's see who gets him first, and then we'll talk about him. All right, spin the wheel. Here we go. I didn't make this go very long because it's like there's two people. Let's just go. All right. Will it stay on Magic Mike or will Vinny get it? Looks like it's going to stay on Magic Mike. And it's official. Magic Mike has won the shake for Encino. I know Magic will be happy. He was already crying about having to shake for this horse, so now he's got him. All right. Let's get serious. Let's talk about Encino here real quick or slowly even. Look, I think the interesting news is, yes, 3 very nice performances over the synthetic surface at Turfway. You kind of look at this thing, maiden special weight on debut, didn't break very well, had some trouble, and got second, then won, broke the maiden, and then a big win in that stakes race, like I mentioned. The big news is Encino's going to go to the Bluegrass. That's kind of the talk. They're going to take him away from Turfway, try him on the dirt. I think that's really, really good news for anybody that wants to bet Encino in the Kentucky Derby. I hate when horses have only ran on synthetic and then go to the dirt because it's just such a big question mark on such a big day of racing. And that's not to say he couldn't have made that jump and been okay, but to have that data point on the dirt, it's going to be a huge, huge help. So I love that that they're taking him there from a handicapping standpoint. I think from a standpoint of, hey, let's see what we got before the big day, it makes a lot of sense. The Bluegrass looks like it's going to be a pretty good race, shaping up to be a real good one. So if Encino can go over there to the dirt and really kind of compete in that kind of race, it's going to tell us a lot. So, selfishly, I really love the move. I think maybe if you are the fantasy owner now, Magic Mike show of Encino, you might have wished he would have stayed for the Jeff Ruby Stakes because, he's already been on that surface and proven to be pretty good over it. But that's not what's going to happen. At least that's the sound of it. I mean, you never know. These horses kind of change courses left and right. But right now it sounds like the Bluegrass for Encino. That does open the door for Nash, who I think will now definitely be going to the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And Nash is a horse that has been extremely disappointing on this Kentucky Derby trail. It sounds like they're going to try the synthetic with him. So Nash to the Jeff Ruby Stakes seems like 100% that's going to happen as of we sit here right now. Boy, isn't this interesting? What's going on right now on this Kentucky Derby trail? I was thinking about it. We basically have 9 major stakes races here in the United States left to, I should say 9 major races that give points left because UA Derby, obviously not in the United States, but a big 100-point race. But long story short, Tampa Bay Derby is one of them. I don't know what we'll see. We haven't got the field out yet. That's coming up this weekend. I mean, I've seen the probables. It doesn't look like there's anything like crazy serious in that race. However, it's so wide open, so you really can't assume that as of now. But we put the Tampa Bay Derby aside, March 23rd, Louisiana Derby, Jeff Ruby Stakes. So the two big races there. March 30th, the UAE Derby, the Florida Derby, and the Arkansas Derby. And then April 6th, three more, the Wood Memorial, the Bluegrass, and the Santa Anita Derby. I was thinking back to last year, which I didn't think was that strong of a group last year. But I look at like the final preps and the lead ups to the final preps of those races that I kind of listed off last year. Most of the races had horses that you were really excited about. You know, whether the Florida Derby, you're just like, okay, Forte, and you got this horse Mage, who's maybe we don't respect him a ton, but you know, he's kind of coming on. Maybe can pull the upset. You know, Arkansas Derby, it's like, yeah, Angel of Empire is going to be there. He just won down at Fairgrounds. You know, you look at the Bluegrass, you had Tapit Trice. We didn't know how good he was really at that time. On and on and on. Santa Anita Derby, you had Mandarin Hero shipping in, you know, and it was just like Practical Move. And it's like, this is, you know, Go Rocket Ride. He did scratch, but you had that excitement. I don't see it. I think I'm excited in a way different way this year of betting. I think is going to be extremely interesting. Like, I'm very excited to bet these races because I think you're going to see some prices come in. I really think some of these favorites are really going to be dressed up, and I think you can beat them in these last preps. But the flip side of it is, and I kind of mentioned on my video earlier this week, right or wrong about the horses, you had like excitement for horses last year and all the years prior leading up to most of these races. Where this year, like, who are we really excited about? I mean, I kind of look at the probables. The Bluegrass is certainly one where I think you're going to have that build up, that excitement. You know, Dornoch, Sierra Leone, Timberlake, Encino. That's exciting. Like, that seems like that's the major one, whether it produces the Derby winner or not. That's kind of the one where you go, okay, this is big time. Like, this is a huge race. You look at some of these other, like Santa Anita Derby, as far as the Kentucky Derby is involved, will be completely meaningless, right? Now, Preakness, that's a big Preakness prep, but Santa Anita Derby for the you know, Kentucky Derby means nothing. Wood Memorial, that doesn't look like it's going to be much. Arkansas Derby, who knows who's going to come to Arkansas this year? It is really weird in Arkansas this year. Florida Derby, like, is fierceness? Is that the thing we're excited about? I don't know. It's intriguing, I guess. You do have Forever Young in the UAE Derby. I think that's an interesting horse that people are going to be really excited about that morning. And then, you know, Jeff Ruby, Louisiana Derby, even. There's not much, right? There's not much. I think the Bluegrass is going to be insane. Like, I think the hype for that's going to be insane. I think that is going to be the one everybody talks about, right? After that, it's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. So we'll see what happens. The question here is Bob not transferring over his horses before the Santa Anita Derby? No, nobody's leaving Bob's barn this year. All the owners basically said, screw you to Churchill. We're not running them. So you're not going to see that. So all those horses of Baffert's, and he's got 100. Now, I think 80 of the 100 might be crippled at this moment, but the ones that aren't, like an Imagination even, that won at the San Felipe, yeah, I mean, you'll probably be in the Santa Anita Derby or wherever, you know, they ship for that last prep. Maybe they go to different places, but none of them will be in the Kentucky Derby. And so that kind of just kind of tells you. And I think, you know, that fact kind of hurts the Arkansas circuit as well, because Baffert always really attacked that circuit, where this year, you know, nothing basically. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah. And this is kind of the crazy thing. There are all kinds of rumors flying around about Nisos right now. Who knows what's true and what's not? I wouldn't put too much stock into it one way or another. But, you know, I guess to kind of wrap up what I'm saying here is, I think if you're a bettor, you've got to be pumped about this, because you look at last year, it's like, yeah, we're probably not beating Forte in the Florida Derby. Honestly, Tapit Trice looked really tough on paper going into the Bluegrass. It's kind of funny what's happened after, but going into that race, he looked like he'd be tough to beat. You know, you had the big horse Practical Move out at Santa Anita. So you kind of had like these, I don't know, laugh for a better word, like beacons of, hey, they're going to be really tough to beat in the preps last year. This year, it's like, okay, you know, maybe if Nisos is healthy, the Santa Anita Derby, maybe give that to him. But the rest of these are wide open. I mean, just wide open. So as a bettor, going to be fun. As a guy that's, you know, trying to find his or her Derby horse, So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. All right, let's get to the comments here. Curse Manless says, I'll say this: Churchill banning Baffert this year did more to revitalize the Preakness than anything else horse racing has done in 20 years. Oh my goodness. That is what a comment, and what a true comment. The only flip side of it, how many of these Bafferts will be alive by the time the Preakness gets there? That's going to be the big question. We're seeing them kind of drop or disappear or not show up in races. But that's surely with all that he has, 3 or 4 of them will be there. And yeah, it will revitalize it as well. And it will kind of be, there is a story out there that could be epic for the Preakness, and to Curtis's point, make it one of the better Preaknesses we've had in at least the last 5 years, right? What if Nysos is totally fine? He romps in the Santa Anita Derby. He's sitting there, at Pimlico, for lack of a better term, in the Preakness, and then we actually get a horse develop in these last 4 or 5 weeks, and it romps, let's say, in the Kentucky Derby. All of a sudden, you've got a crazy Nysos versus the Kentucky Derby winner who you would hope might be impressive in a huge matchup in the Preakness. I mean, that would, in a lot of ways, if it played out like that, which is a lot of ifs, but if it did play out like that, the Preakness, at least from the horse racing community, obviously not the general public, but from the horse racing community, the Preakness would be more exciting than the Kentucky Derby, because you would have like the 2 big horses that weren't allowed to run against each other in the Kentucky Derby, while the horse racing fans, like all of us watching and myself, would be like, oh, hey, this is the matchup. Like, this is going to be amazing. Now, if you followed horse racing the last couple of years, none of that will probably happen. And if it does, they'll probably scratch before the race, right? I mean, we feel like we've been a little bit cursed with these big 3-year-old races. So now that I put that into existence, watch it happen. But anyway, Curtis, a great comment, and you're right. You're absolutely right about that. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I said it on the video the other day. It is just so day by day with this thing right now, and it just, when you think you got a horse that, hey, I'm kind of excited to see this horse run, they scratch, and or something happens, and they don't run. So we'll see. All that being said, Tampa Bay Derby coming up this weekend. I think it's going to be a good race. I think it'll be a good, solid betting race. I don't know about Kentucky Derby prospects, but I'll say it again. In a season like this, where it is so contentious and so wide open, a race like the Tampa Bay Derby is not far-fetched to produce, if not a winner, at least a decent runner, and that's going to make an impact. So just keep an eye on it. I think it'll be a really good race this weekend. The betting card will be fantastic. I think at Tampa Bay, they usually have a very nice betting card set up for these big weekends. So, all right, I've done enough rambling here. Congratulations to the Magic Mike team. By the way, they dropped change of command to get Encino. So in change of command, no longer on the Magic Mike squad, which is kind of fitting because he was the one that really disappointed in the Sam F. Davis. So he's gone. Who knows where he's at now? All right, we're going to get out of here, or I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you throughout the week for more content on the YouTube channel.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at @racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.